Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones, Indiana It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Oh my God, this entire movie has Mark Hamill in it.
We should get Luke Skywalker in this one.
That's totally crazy.
Kind of.
Hey, everybody. This is the Indiana Jones Minute. And normally we're talking about Indiana Jones movies on this thing, but every once in a while, it seems like almost every year these days, a new Star Wars movie comes out, and we like to jump in on that and share our thoughts, because that's what people do on their podcast. They share their thoughts about things that are important to them, and by golly, Star Wars is important to us. So we're here to talk about...
I also like to think that Star Wars is part of our own movie universe, and I think there are even a couple of pieces of evidence in the latest Star Wars movie that support that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But yeah, Indiana Jones Minute, you should go find us on at indianajonesminute.com. You can find us on Facebook at Indiana Jones Minute and the Listener's Crusade, where we're normally talking about Indiana Jones stuff. And by golly, Indiana Jones fans are Star Wars fans, so you're going to get some Star Wars conversation there too.
Who are we?
Who are we? Oh, I am Tom Taylor.
I am the Admiral who has been choked to death by Darth Vader, Pete Mummert.
Look it up.
I'm the intern, Jerry Porter.
And as we said, we are here to talk about Star Wars The Last Jedi, which I have seen once.
But I think we should, before we do anything, we should make sure to point out, if you haven't seen The Last Jedi yet, turn off your podcast player immediately, unless you love knowing everything that's going to happen before you see the movie.
We are going to unabashedly talk about The Last Jedi in great detail, spoilerific all over the place. So yes, you've been warned.
You already know now that Mark Hamill is in the whole thing, so it may be spoiled already. But
he was already in the last one. We can't worry about spoiling the last, The Force Awakens. You know,
I don't understand who gets all super weird about. I know the spoilers are lit, but obviously you're going to read something about a movie or conspectus or a summary.
Not if you're careful.
No, some people are.
No, but I'm
try to
saying
go in absolutely cold.
But you should just not read anything about it then, which is what I do. Yeah.
Right, but you could conceivably say, "Oh, the Indiana Jones Minute, there's a new thing up," and oh my God, they're talking about Last Jedi. I was trying to be in a spoiler wall. Oh my God.
We're gonna call it The Last Jedi Talk About.
Sure. The Last Jedi Talk About. I have to call it that now.
No.
I guess I will. We'll see.
You don't.
No. It's like The View. The Last Jedi. The View.
Yeah. We're all sitting here with our tea and our coffee.
Uh-huh.
We got scones. Let's start talking about The Last Jedi. You both have seen it twice.
Yeah.
We were recording this on the Monday after the release of the movie. You guys have seen it twice. I've seen it once.
I had very different experiences both times I saw it.
I've heard other people say that. What's weird about me, for some reason, I was, like Jared was saying, I was trying very hard not to have anything spoiled for me before seeing the movie. Mm-hmm. And now that I have seen the movie, for some reason, I'm really averse to reading anybody's reactions and stuff. And I don't know if it's because you, like us guys, are going to do this, or if it was because I just let me. Everyone's yelling at each other right now about Star Wars. I just want to figure it out on my own, I think.
Oh, yeah, do we know what a moof milker is now?
Oh, is that a moof?
I don't know.
What is that?
I was kind of wondering if that was a moof being milked.
I'm lost.
Aw. You're not the only one. Well, who wants to go first? Maybe one of us should just jump in with our general impressions and experiences of The Last Jedi.
You have a good... because there's so much discussion about the movie here, Tommy, all over the internet and everything and the forums. I understand what you're saying. You see the movie, you come out, and you have your first impressions, and they're yours. You own them. You're not influenced by all the yak. The yakety yak, and so there is. I respect that. That is a nice place to live. You own your own opinions and your own feelings about it.
I don't expect to be there long. After we do this, I'll probably start poking around. I mean, I've already gleaned some stuff, which is interesting, actually.
Which it is, and that's it's sort of a double-edged sword. I started voraciously reading all sorts of reviews and this and what people love and what people don't like, and there's There's a lot of differing opinions out there.
You know what's amazing too? Not to interrupt, but I'll interrupt anyway because we're friends. I know that there are a lot of people who love this movie and a lot of people who have just completely written it off. And I don't understand either one of those, which is really weird. I don't understand either one of those at all. I'm completely baffled by every single reaction I've sort of gotten a sense of on the internet.
Well, I saw the movie at El Capitan Theater right on Hollywood and Famous Boulevard. And it was they actually
Gary
did a
Cooper
great
walked
job.
by.
Yeah, exactly. I think and Kenny Baker and no, and I saw the 1:35 a.m. showing, and I got the VIP pass, which I got to meet stormtroopers, and I got a Star Wars commemorative popcorn bucket, and
you promptly tossed.
And they had I have it. It's in the kitchen, and they had all sorts of. There's a BB-8, you can get your picture taken with them, and I have to say, my initial reaction, I came out thinking, I need someone to show me my place in all of this. That was kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, I was disappointed in the movie, and
I'm not saying I was disappointed. I'm saying I'm understanding you.
I was disappointed, and I had that same. It wasn't as bad as Phantom Menace, but I had that sinking feeling of where I'm in the movie about 40 minutes, and I'm like, I don't know if this is going well. I don't know if this is what I expected. But I was having fun.
Yeah,
and I was there to have fun. It was 2:00 in the morning. I'm in Hollywood, and the place is sold out. Everybody's cheering. Everybody's dressed up. All the virgins are dressed up as Princess Leia, or I don't know, make up some Santu Bic noise or whatever their name is.
Yeah.
Some weird bounty hunter from some book.
Yeah, some cereal
Splinter
box.
in the Mind's Eye.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time with it. I did. I had a hard time. I don't know I feel like. And then when I read the reviews and coming out of the theater, and I had a day or so to think about it. And I read all the good things and all the bad things about it, and I felt like, look, I love Mexican food, and I showed up for a Mexican restaurant. For looking for Mexican food, and I felt like, like some nachos and salsa came out, chips and salsa came out, but then also there was some kung pao in there too, and they kept asking me like, well, what? I'm like, well, whoa, I'm at like a Mexican restaurant, and the people kept saying, yeah, but the kung pao tastes good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no, it does. The kung pao tastes fine, but it doesn't seem like it belongs here.
Would you like more ketchup on your burrito?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, yeah, but how does it taste? How does it taste? I mean, don't you think they put it's a really good sauce and it's kind of sweet and spicy? That's in now, right? That's popular now, sweet and spicy. And I was like, listen, I'm at a Mexican restaurant. I like the kung pao. It tastes fine, but I'm at a Mexican restaurant. I came here for Mexican food.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for Mexican food, and I'm ready to celebrate Mexican cuisine, and they keep giving me kung pao.
Right.
That's and then they keep saying, but doesn't the kung pao taste good? And I was like, that's how I felt the first time through.
Did the kung pao taste good?
Mixed. It wasn't even. It was like kung pao, but it was like, what was it like? What is it like? La choy or something. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a like really good kung pao. It was kind of like. It was kind of like ramen noodles that you get at, the cup of ramen up at 7-Eleven, 99 cents. And you're like, does it taste good? And you're like, yeah, sure, if it's 3:48 in the morning.
Right.
Yeah, and I just have to add water. It's salty, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say this is good. I'm not going to say this is even what I want. It's good at 3:48 a.m., but that's about it. So.
Well, what about you, Pete?
Well, I had the first time I went in to watch it early Friday morning. I left very perplexed. and I literally left not knowing if I liked it or disliked it. And I think I leaned a little bit towards disliking it because it left me a little bit cold. And I think part of that was that Rian Johnson really just took the rug out from under me several times, I think. Like, this was not at all what I was expecting to happen. And
that's the Kung Pao part.
That's the Kung Pao part.
But that's the Kung Pao. Well, okay, and I keep going. I'm sorry.
And I mean, it especially Mark Hamill. I had a hard time with Luke Skywalker. Like, that was really
interesting.
He was not at all what I had envisioned him being. All these years, he wasn't the serene, calm, collected Jedi master that I was expecting. And I went back to see it that same evening, Friday night. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. And I think once I embraced the fact that this wasn't the Star Wars, that he'd kind of burned the Star Wars of my youth and those bridges are gone and this is now something new. I think once I accepted that, I actually really enjoyed it.
Gosh, everything you're saying makes me want to dive into like all my key points and everything without even saying whether I like the movie or not.
But see,
I have stuff to say about all of it.
That's the perfect example of they burned down the Mexican restaurant that was your favorite, and they put up a Chinese restaurant.
You know what?
I think that's okay, because the Mexican restaurant is actually still there, and you can go back and eat there. But
see, I don't think they burned down the Mexican restaurant. I think they burned down the 7-Eleven that was like operating out of the Mexican restaurant.
Well, it's not. It's just when you want Chinese food, then you can go to this place, and you are prepared to eat a Chinese food meal. That's what happens the second time you see it. You're prepared to go. I mean, like, I'm going to have egg rolls and Kung Pao. That's fine.
Yeah.
But at some point, if your name is not...
Okay.
But I was going to say, at some point, if your name's not Jerry Porter, you have to eat something that's not Mexican food. And at some point, the movie's, like, the series is going to have to go in a new direction because all these people are going to be gone. And I think that it's kind of like ripping off a Band-Aid. You want to do it fast, and they do it fast. And I think it's actually a good move, but it wasn't easy, especially for someone who's so into nostalgia, as I know most of us here are.
See, I think I went to the Mexican restaurant expecting some kind of Mexican food. They started bringing me Kung Pao chicken, which I thought was excellent, delicious Kung Pao chicken. And I was like, oh, this is great, bring it on. But then the more they brought to me, like, soon they were like bringing it to me on like napkins and like just in their hands and stuff, and like just kind of throwing it across the room at me. I was like, whoa, hang on, and like they just wouldn't stop bringing it, or then they would stop bringing it, and I was expecting, it was like, and I left like super confused, even though I loved the Kung Pao chicken in the Mexican restaurant.
Here's the whole overarching thing for me is, Pete, I agree with you, and I agree with you too, Tommy, that like, okay, they needed to make some changes and some pivots in the whole universe of all the characters and where we're going with this thing.
Right.
It can't stay the same. And all the people who are upset at the people who were disappointed say, well, what'd you expect? It can't just be Star Wars over and over again, man. Right. And you're like, well, that's true. I get that, but it doesn't mean it has to be Marvel now. Yeah. Like today, which it did sort of read like a little bit like a Marvel movie with the humor and some of the character. I liked where they went sort of philosophically with it in terms of what happens to the Jedi and what future Jedi might look like, or future people who are sort of one with the Force or talented with the Force. I loved all that. I just didn't like the vehicle and the plot line and the character, literally the lack of character development get me to those pivot points. I have no problem with okay, now this is what we're going to do with the Force and Jedi and,
I feel like this was more I walked out of the theater I've only seen it once. I saw it like Friday night with my family, and I walked out feeling really good about it, even though I knew as I was enjoying it that it wasn't really a movie. Like, it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like it was a very disjointed. It was like there was a Star Wars TV series, and this was like 5 episodes of the Star Wars show, kind of edited together into a 2-hour thing that they could sell as a movie. And it's like, what's Poe Dameron going to do about the new boss? Find out on Star Wars.
God, I love that. That's like, that perfectly grabs it. What's Poe Dameron going to do about the new boss?
That was a really weird plot line.
Yeah.
And
I love
there's
that
a
plot
lot
line,
of like I was legitimately confused by a lot of the movie. Like,
Yes.
wait, where's Rey right now? Where's
Yeah.
R2D2? Like, I don't actually know where people are, and I don't know exactly what they're doing.
That's part
And
of
there was
my
that kind of stuff that drove me nuts.
Yeah, and that's part of what I disliked about the movie is old friends like R2 gets kind of shunted aside, and Chewie, I mean, it's kind of like driving Miss Daisy Ridley, Daisy Ridley. It's like Chewie's basically just a chauffeur now. Like he's not really a character, and
He murdered some porgs. That was fun.
Yeah, that was
We
creepy.
didn't get to eat them.
I love the porgs, and
creepy.
that was
creepy. Pete and I had a moment about that.
Yeah.
Just without
really?
you, Tommy.
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Oh.
no,
we didn't like that.
we were out there freeing the Faithiers.
But you didn't like that he killed some of them, was going to eat them?
No.
Or you didn't like that he was like face to face with them? He's going to eat.
The
He's a
poor
Wookiee.
guy sitting there. That's his mom.
Aw.
That's it's lit and it's staring at him like, you know what? In about 14 hours, you're going to out my sister.
Eat or be eaten.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. It's crying in front of Chewie's face. It's crying. It's
a
and
porg.
it's already dead. It's already dead. There's two of them. By the way, he killed two of them.
Yeah.
And he's fricasseeing two of them.
Yeah.
And you're like,
And they guilt him out of not eating them, so then their deaths were useless.
Yeah,
They
but
were
you know,
meaningless.
yeah. And you know what? They're already dead. They're dead already. And you know what was interesting? I thought, wow, here's a little vegan moment, isn't it? like does Chewbacca, from now on, Chewbacca doesn't eat stuff with the face.
Right. And
Yeah.
all the little kids in
Yeah.
America who are watching the movie, they had the same reaction.
And
They're
you know, I
actually
don't,
vegans now.
I don't have a problem with that little joke. Just don't show me
Yeah.
the thing crying in front of them.
Yeah, that was
While
tough.
it's looking
That
at
was rough.
its barbecued carcass of its sister.
I was okay with that. I thought that was kind of funny. I just wish he'd eaten it. I felt bad for him. He's going to go hungry. But I mean, Pete, you were saying, like, both of you guys are saying, like, that they burned down. When you were talking about the Mexican restaurant, I assume you're talking about the Star Wars franchise or something. What I really liked about this movie is that it feels much more connected to Star Wars for me than The Force Awakens did.
Huh.
There was like for some reason I'm thriving on like the little tiny things in movies, like in the last 10 years. Like if a movie can be okay, but if there are really awesome little pieces in it that'll carry me through. And I think there was a lot of that in this movie, where like there were a lot of little notes and little like lines of dialogue and little things that made me think, oh, this feels like an extension of Star Wars to me. This feels like where the characters would be. Like I bought Luke 100%. I thought Luke was awesome in this movie. He's probably the best part of the movie. But what I did tear down, which I thought was amazing, was it totally like undid The Force Awakens in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like they kill Snoke immediately. No, Rey, your parents are nobodies. They're just dumb losers who, didn't matter. Like all of that stuff. Like it was all just kind of like undoing like everything that the fans have been like rabidly theorizing about and everything for the past couple of years.
But that's interesting because that's stuff that the fans brought with them into the cave. Like none of that was actually in The Force Awakens. It's things that people brought with them. And I don't know. Because Mark Hamill, it was interesting. He had an interview a while back where he said he disagreed with every single choice Rian Johnson made regarding Luke. But in spite of that, he did his best to bring him to life. And I think it was amazing. And like I think one of the things that kind of helped me settle a little better with this after the first viewing was kind of thinking, Luke is such a different character, but I mean, after, 20, 30 years, so am I. Like, nobody stays the same. And then on the other hand, he kind of is. There was that Luke who's always whining and wants to go to Tachi Station to pick up some power converters. And now Luke is still there. He's just a lot older now, but he's still the cantankerous kind of whiny guy who isn't getting his way. But then he also kind of turns into his uncle a little bit.
Maybe it's because we haven't seen Mark Hamill as much as we've seen Harrison Ford. But like Harrison Ford in Force, and I liked him in Force Awakens. He's a good old man Han Solo.
But he still
it sort of
feels like
felt
Han
more
Solo.
like he felt like. Wait, you say he did or didn't?
He did. He felt, but he didn't feel like he had changed very much. Like he didn't feel like he had grown much as a person.
Right, and he felt a lot like old man Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
he felt like Harrison Ford was sort of like old man Harrison Ford was doing Han Solo.
Yeah,
but here I felt like, oh, this is Luke Skywalker as an old man.
Yeah,
played by Mark Hamill. Like I kind of it felt more natural to me.
Well, and I also wondered, do midichlorians make Jedi get kind of loopy when they get old? Because all of them act kind of weird. Like Yoda acts weird. Ben acts weird when he gets
old. Ones
old.
who are in seclusion, they all end up like all by themselves for years and years in desolate wastelands.
You know, Pete, I thought of you while watching this because, you know, with all the Indiana Jones movies we talk about, you always bring up Temple of Doom as you admire all the risks that Lucas and Spielberg took, and how different Temple of Doom was in terms from Raiders. And I kind of thought you because this movie definitely took a lot of risks and chances and like really 90-degree pivot points. The fact that I'm happy that they got away from this goddamn General Hospital vibe of like you have like Leia and Luke, and it's a brother and sister thing, and then Han comes, and then they have a kid, and then the kid and Luke's teaching the kid. It's like it's like the Russian family or something. You know what I mean? Like just and when I originally always envisioned Star Wars, it was a long time ago, a galaxy far, far away, and here you have this guy who's on the if there's a bright center of the universe, he's on the planet farthest from. You're like, no, there's nobody. Can become a hero. Right. And then, I mean, they kind of dragged you through the Okefenokee swamp of all the mud of you're like, no, his dad's Darth Vader and this, and certain people are chosen, and then the midichlorians and your blood count, and you're like, oh my God, we totally lost.
Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing. This entire idea of like, hey, maybe I can be a hero. I'm a loser. I'm a nobody, but I can hope. Right. And they kind of just cut that down like with the scythe, and I loved that.
I did too. Yeah, and that actually did feel like a throwback to the original Star Wars.
Yes, it did. It did. And I was thrilled that they got away from all that Jedi blood and it's in your blue-blooded Jedi silliness.
Well, and both the Jedi and the Sith now seem to be dead. Like now I think it's possible we're going to get a whole new understanding of how the Force works, because we don't actually know that the Jedi and the Sith had a monopoly on how the Force is used. They were just the two factions that had the power, that had the public's mind. But now we've got two brand new, a brand new hero and a brand new villain, and they may come up with a completely different look at what the Force can do or how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I feel like they've whitewashed this midichlorian nonsense.
I mean, they don't even say it anymore.
And not only that, you see the little kid, and he at the very end of the movie,
grabs
he grabs the broom, and he looks up at a shooting star, and you're like, I'm not thinking about that dude's midichlorian count.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I actually was, but...
Speaking as somebody who only saw the movie once, did that kid grab the broom with the Force?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did he force it into his hand?
Yeah,
okay.
The broom flipped it up into his hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
I didn't actually like the fact that it was a kid. Like I have kind of traumatic associations with that from Phantom Menace.
That's fair enough.
I did like
the fact that it was
I did like the fact that it was
kid either.
It brings the Force back into everybody can use it, and it's a mystical power throughout the universe. It's not. Yeah. You have to be a Skywalker to use it.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's a huge universe, right? I mean, that's what we're introduced to.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like the whole universe is Mos Eisley space, with everybody looking different and acting different, and different special powers and weird noses and different ears. Yeah. And then they just shoehorn it into these one family dynasty thing.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Well, another thing about a big universe that bothered me is Canto Bight did not feel like a big universe. It felt like Monte Carlo. Like it was a weird little, and there was the guy, like the master code breaker, the guy they thought was the master code breaker. I'm not sure if he was, or maybe he just beat Benicio del Toro at some kind of, a space roulette and took his jacket and flower. But I mean, he's dressed like Indiana Jones or Panama Hat at the beginning of Temple of Doom.
You guys think that only 2 people on the face of the earth have ever worn a white dinner jacket
with a red carnation, with the red flower. Yeah. But it just felt very earthbound. Like that whole little segment didn't feel. I mean, everyone was wearing a tuxedo or everyone was wearing a gown, and it felt like Monaco. It didn't feel like a foreign planet, an alien planet.
That was weird.
Look,
it also felt weirdly Harry Potter too, in a weird way. Like like a lot of little people and like just like a lot of. They keep trying to throw a lot of aliens at you in these movies when you've already, like, it's not special anymore. It's not even interesting anymore. Like, the Cantina was awesome because you're like, whoa, what the hell's going on? That guy's a wolf man, help me. But, like, now it's just sort of like, oh, yeah, I know you can do that stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
They did it okay in Maz's castle in Force Awakens.
That was okay.
Yeah, but this felt kind of flat. And I thought they did it well in Rogue One, too, when they're in the in Bor Gullet's little hideout there.
Yeah,
but
they didn't. Yeah, it wasn't like a menagerie of like. It was just like one or two.
Yeah, they weren't all wearing dinner jackets and tuxedos and playing, space blackjack.
Banco.
Well,
Neuf de la banque.
I'm going to expand that out and just say one of my biggest issues with the movie was Finn and Rose's storyline.
Yeah,
like it was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
well, I don't understand any of this. Like, so Finn's this hero, and he's escaping because the Resistance, all the ships are on, like, they're all going to get slaughtered, and so he's leaving in a ship just to save Rey because she's going to come back there and see that they're all dead, and you're kind of like, is that what our hero's doing? Like, I just want to be clear.
But it's only been like 3 days since the end of The Force Awakens. So it's also possible that makes sense because he hasn't had a full character arc yet. I mean, look, 6 days ago he was running away as fast as he could, and he ran away from Rey on Maz's planet, and he's afraid of getting caught up in this and being taken back to the First Order. And I think that's still in him, and I think he overcomes it at the end. But I kind of like that he's put through the test.
See, I don't have a problem with that, except then. Like Rose sees him and talks about him like it's this legend status if it's only been 3 days. Now I understand he just won the Super Bowl, or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? I get it, but it was like she had known about him for years and years and years.
Yeah.
That whole
and then
thing,
they're immediately given this. They get this mission like immediately to like the whole the whole Star Destroyer thing. I don't know where to start. Yeah, the whole Okay, let me just say this. Okay. The plot is stupid. The plot of the whole movie is really stupid. Like, the actual, like, mechanics of the plot is really stupid. Like, the whole thing about there's a Star Destroyer chasing a bunch of other ships at, like, impulse power, and the Resistance ships are slightly faster, so the Star Destroyers can't bombard them enough or something to, like, get through their shields.
I think that's
But that's stupid because they have an entire fleet out there. Why doesn't some other Star Destroyer just show up in front of this Resistance ships and start shooting them? Or why doesn't that Star Destroyer go into hyperspace and show up in front of them?
Yeah.
It seems super, super contrived and very sort of like 70s Battlestar Galactica or something.
Yeah.
I could have liked
but
that.
Then it was also... So then Finn and Rose get this mission to like, very Star Wars-y, by the numbers kind of mission. Like, you're going to break into the thing and turn off the thing that'll save the thing. And so that was stupid, but the only thing I liked about it is that they fail completely. And it goes nowhere. I thought that was kind of cool.
Not only does it go nowhere, but it leads to the death of almost every single member of the rebellion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they fail.
I kind of like that.
No, I do too. I like it. I think Rian Johnson said he wanted this movie to rhyme with Empire Strikes Back. And I think in a sense it does. And I like how everybody loses almost everything. Like at the end, everything left of the rebellion fits into a small, Millennium Falcon, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's all that's left.
It's awkward.
You know what? I have a problem with the characters. Like I don't like Poe Dameron.
Huh?
He's weird. It's when you find out that he was supposed to die in Force Awakens, like early on, like when he cried, like that makes total sense because he's in a weird extra movie in Force Awakens, and now it still sort of feels like they're just trying to find stuff for him to do. Now
that's what I'm saying, and it's like I like the fact that he's like the best fighter pilot in the galaxy and all that. Like I find that's really cool, and he uses it, and you're like, that's awesome, and I believe it. And I love those scenes in all the movies when they're doing that, and he's like just showing off his talents and kicking ass. But I don't like him in this where he's just like, we need a plan. What's our plan?
Yeah.
And it's just like,
you're not Princess Leia.
Yeah, it's just kind of like
there's. Yeah, how does the military work in Star? Because she outranks him. She should be able to just say, "Shut up! You don't have to know the plan. I'm the admiral."
And she keeps
right.
Like he pulls on a full-on mutiny.
Yeah.
And then they're
and
like,
he gets everyone killed in the process.
Yeah, and it's just like And you're kind of like, and she's like, he's feisty. I like him.
Yeah. That's like the last 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah. Like, the last 5 minutes of the episode.
We all learned a little something about ourselves.
Yeah. And meanwhile, he's like, I want to take out the dreadnought. And, you're like, no, I get it. That's awesome. We should. But their entire bombing fleet gets wiped out because this guy's like a loudmouth.
Yeah.
And he's just it's like, just stop the yakety yak, man.
But he learns his lesson at the end, though, because he does call off the attack at the end, even when it looks like it might work.
Yes, but that's only 4,800 dead bodies later.
No, it definitely, it took him, a lot of dead guys.
And that's like of an entire rebel fleet, or fleet of like 4,817.
So it wasn't an easy lesson for him.
Yeah. And it's just it's kind of weird and selfish and just kind of like he's not like is he supposed to be like sort of a new and improved Han Solo?
Well, I think that's what's interesting about him is he kind of is, but he kind of isn't. Like he's kind of a jerk and he's kind of like he got everybody killed. Like he's got a lot of flaws.
But at least like Han Solo's not part of the Rebel Alliance, you know?
Right.
He's just this guy who's a smuggler, so I'm cool with that. Yeah. Sometimes he does the right thing, sometimes he looks out for himself, you know what I mean? That's fine. But he's susceptible to his own life's pressures, like, there's a bounty on his head, so sometimes he's got to leave. Fine. Yeah. But Poe Dameron, it's like I'm supposed to really like him and get behind him and be rooting for him, and I am kind of, but he's very one-dimensionally drawn.
Yeah. It's like his heart is in the right place, but he's doing a lot of stupid stuff. You're like, would you just settle down, Poe Dameron? Settle down.
I think the stuff I don't like about a lot of the characters in this is they're one-dimensionally drawn. It's very comic booky, where it's like, Poe Dameron's his heart's in the right place, but he's a hothead and impulsive, and you're like, and that's it. Like you look behind him and there's nothing there. He's just a piece of cardboard.
You're ignoring the whole Monty Python side to his character. Which I don't agree that he's a one-dimensional character, but I did have trouble with his, even though I thought it was funny, I'm not sure that it fit the tenor of a Star Wars movie at the beginning where he did that whole for Hux.
Oh, right.
That whole little gag. I mean, it felt like
I don't know. Yeah, I had to decide to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this feels weird, but okay, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It did feel weird. It felt, and that's kind of Marvel-y. That's like a Marvel Comics thing.
Yeah, but the Marvel movies are really good and really coherent.
They are. You want to know why? Because you're going to a Chinese restaurant and you want Chinese food, and so you show up and you order the egg roll and the kung pao, and it shows up. You're happy.
But this isn't even like it's not even like they made Kung Pao the right. It's weird that this movie isn't good in the ways that it's not good. It's weird. Like just the structure of the movie is so messed up and weird. And just the whole like sort of, I guess like the heart of the plot sort of is this stupid Star Destroyer slow chase through space that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And everything like, Rose and Finn going off on their mission, the new boss, same as the old boss kind of thing. It's all very TV and very just like kind of, it's like they got to figure out something for these people to do in a 2.5 hour movie.
We got to figure out something for these people to do. And by the way, I mean, what's up with Rose? I don't like Rose.
Really?
Rose is a little random.
Oh, I like Rose.
Rose is random, and it's not and she's a little too like, she's just made of like aphorisms. What is it? Aphorisms.
But she's one of our first looks at just a normal person in the Star Wars universe. She's not someone's kid. She's not a fighter pilot. She's she's just I have no problem with that. I have no problem with it, and I like that. She's a mechanic. And that's fine and that's cool. But then literally 45 minutes later, she's like flying up against the big cannon gun and like leading everybody like she's Admiral Akbar or something. And I tip my hat to Admiral Akbar, by the way.
Well, I do too. Yes, too soon. Too soon, Jerry. That's the thing. I like her as just a regular person.
Yeah.
But her role takes on
Yeah, I agree. The
yeah,
fact that she
sweet.
goes from mechanic to like ace
like
pilot,
literally
at the
mechanic
end.
to like
Yeah.
I don't even know like
Although-
C-3PO in the movie or
Yeah.
like Lando Calrissian or Chewbacca. She's all of a
Yeah.
sudden like the fourth most important person in the movie.
Although to be fair, they only had 5 people left in the rebellion at that point.
That's
so
true.
they didn't have a lot of choices. It's
Well,
like,
I have
can
an
you-
excellent question.
Can you fly planes?
Was she originally supposed to be gay? Because didn't we read somewhere like last year or something? They just said that we're going to have our first gay character.
Yeah, and not only did I remember reading that, I thought that wasn't her sister that died at the beginning. I thought it was like
Exactly.
her wife or her girlfriend.
That's exactly what I was thinking. When we see her sad holding
Yeah.
the other half of that thing,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
No, my sister. Like, oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
I was
Okay.
very confused about that.
Yeah.
I just the whole treatment of her and Finn. Finn is very, very asexual, and what I don't understand is like he and Rey have a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or did he and Poe have a thing?
Or do he? Yeah. Or is it like he and Rose have a thing?
No, I think Rose
Well,
has a thing for him, but I think it's unrequited.
But I don't think he has a thing for Rey necessarily. I think he loves Rey.
Yeah, I think he
and
just
I think
like she treats
they're
him like
tight.
a person.
They're bonded
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and yeah, I like their relationship.
Yeah, I do too. I do
mean,
think
they
that
barely
Poe
see each
has
other
a
in this
thing for
movie.
Finn. I don't know if that goes both ways though.
Maybe.
Poe has
Look
a
good in
thing
his
for
jacket.
Finn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Curious.
And then
Now, see, that would have
Yeah.
been a movie.
And then his first line when he sees
that would have
him
given
is-
him something to do for 2
Yeah.
hours.
and he's like, Poe
Would've been
naked
fine.
and leaking liquid? Hey, I'm right there.
Sign me up.
What do you guys think about Rey in the cave?
I liked Rey in the cave.
I did too.
You mean
I
like the
loved
whole
it.
like doubly weirdy thing,
Yeah.
echoey thing.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't get it, but I love it.
Yeah, I don't get it, but it's fine.
Well, I had a lot of questions about it, but it's interesting because I'm assuming it's like the cave on Dagobah, where the only thing in there is what you take in with you, and it's
Yeah.
interesting that Rey is alone in the universe, and that's her biggest fear, and she goes in there,
Yeah.
and that's all that she finds is herself.
I guess I do get it. Thank you, Pete.
Sure. I was looking a lot deeper than that. That's all it is. She's just alone.
Well, I think that's part of it, and I think that's her greatest fear, because
Yeah.
Luke faced his greatest fear was Darth Vader, and she faced her greatest fear, which is the fact that she wants to find her family or find where she belongs, and in the end, it's just her.
Well, but then I mean, she tells Ben Solo that he's not alone.
Because she desperately wants to not be alone herself.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
wants to, not be alone with him.
Speaking of Kylo Ren, I have a question here. At the, so after like when they defeat, he kills Snoke, which is a great scene and it's awesome, and that was something that I really enjoyed. That
Yeah.
scene where they kill Snoke.
Did you think he was becoming a good guy at that point?
Well, here's what's interesting. I'm not convinced when he's like, okay, it's time for the Sith to die and the Jedi to die. And she's coming from this whole Luke Skywalker, monologue about, hey, the Jedi need to die and all this thing. And he's saying, hey, let's just rule the galaxy together. And she's like, don't do this. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hear him out. He's saying it's like, the Sith are going to die and the Jedi are going to die, so maybe we can, two great tastes that taste great together.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be the dark side here. Does it have to be? At the very least, I would have said, I would have sat down on the little log and said, okay, Kylo, like what's the vision here?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
are you still going to use all your dark magic and all that? Because
it does
that's going to
seem
be
like
a problem.
that's his thing. It does seem, at least she sees it that way. Like, oh, okay, you want me to be a tyrant with you. Like, you're gonna rule the galaxy with an iron fist, and I'll
But
be at your side
what
or
would she
something.
want him to do? Like, what does it look
Yeah.
for her?
Be
Like
nice.
for Kylo, for Kylo Ren to join her?
Well, that's a great question, because what does Luke mean when she's telling him, like, she does the same thing Luke does in Empire Strikes Back, and she says, I've seen the future, I can go save my friends, everything's going to be great. And Luke says, this is not going to end the way you think it's going to end. What does he mean? Does he mean that her vision of the future is not going to end the way she thinks it's going to end, or that she misunderstands her vision? Or does he just mean
I
the
think-
Jedi Order?
I think he's talking from his experience of Kylo Ren, maybe. Like, he knows what he's capable of, and he knows like where his head is at. Like, since he, left him for dead and killed all the
I hated that.
Jedi students
Yeah, I hated
and took
that.
a bunch with him.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I hated that Luke was going to kill him.
Well, wait a minute.
I like Luke's version of the story. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like for a second, he was like, "Oh shit, I got to do this."
Yeah.
And then a second later, he's like, "No, I'm being ridiculous." But
It
Kylo Ren still
felt like
read
he
it
was lying though to me. I don't know. Like that's how you tell a story when you're like, I was going to, but obviously I didn't.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, that would have been fine had he killed him, because then we'd still have Han Solo. Which is basically,
True.
as long as I get there, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm fine with whatever. But I just don't understand. What was Kylo Ren, how was this supposed to go with Rey? Was he supposed to be like, okay, I'll come back and become a Jedi with you?
Well, I think that's part.
He's already a Jedi-ish.
Well, I think that's part of the magic of the movie is that neither one of them really knows A, what they want, or B, what's actually even possible. Like they're kind of like Indiana Jones. They're kind of both making it up as they go along, and neither of them has a really clear picture of, I think, what they want to have happen.
But she just automatically assumed that he was continuing the dark side.
Well, that's exactly what he does as soon as she leaves him alone.
Right.
He takes over the entire First Order and starts blowing stuff up.
That's a little bit weird to me, where it's like she's like, don't do this and whatever. And then he's like, forget it. All right, I'll just go back to being a Dark Lord Sith.
Now, see, I think this is one of the very strong points of the movie, I think, is that you get to know Kylo Ren a little bit better. And he turns even a little more evil, but you kind of are still, you get him. You kind of get, I mean, I agree. I'm a little confused as to, or maybe I'm not. I don't know. It seems like he just wants to rule and, use the power that he has in the way that he understands, which is, force and might and blowing stuff up. But now like more where he's kind of like, we got a little of that from Force Awakens, like, oh, he was upset or something and a bad guy got into his head. But like now you like kind of see like where he came from.
Well, see, I didn't know if
and where his head's at.
I didn't know if he wanted to rule so much as he was just sick of people telling him what to do.
There's a lot of that, and there's a lot of it's all part of his like just stop it, just tear it down.
Yeah.
This is forget it.
Yeah.
The old is stupid and new is good. I love maybe the best line in the whole movie. This is where I thought like, okay, this might be a great movie, and speaking directly to me is when Snoke at the beginning is like, take that stupid helmet off or whatever he says, that ridiculous. Stupid half-assed Darth Vader dum-dum thing that you're wearing.
Oh, I love that.
And then he smashes
it. And I
it.
love the way he sounds when he's wearing it. I was sad when he smashed it.
He did sound cool.
Yeah,
But it was like everyone kind of made fun of him for that in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like the fans were like, oh, he's kind of like a emo Darth Vader, just like trying to be cool like Darth Vader.
But I think
so in a way it was like like a cool cutting down of him as a character, but then it was also like, Force Awakens has some dumb stuff in it. Smash that helmet, please. Thank you.
I feel like Kylo Ren's just a super hot mess.
Oh yeah,
he's just running around like a bull in a china shop with the Force.
Yeah.
But Rey is too.
Yeah.
Like I think they're both super hot messes.
Yeah,
and
she's kind of. I mean, she's more. She has.
She's got it together more than he does. But
yeah, I have a little more faith in her. As a matter of fact, talking about the characters who I like and believe, I really, really love Rey. I think she's.
Oh,
great.
I do too. I think she's the hero.
Yeah,
of the movie.
she's a character I can get behind, and I love her. Finn's a little funky in this. He's just, I don't really know what I'm doing. And Rose and Poe and then Benicio del Toro, I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing here.
Oh, I loved him. I thought he was fantastic.
I love him, and
Yeah.
I liked him the second time, but I'm kind of just like it doesn't. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
See, he felt like a Lando character to me. Like he knew which way the wind was blowing.
Yeah, but Lando only works if you trust him at first and you like him and people like know him. And Han's like, hey, he's my buddy. Like, oh no, he turned on me.
No, and Benicio del Toro ended up being a bad guy, but he did make an interesting point that, I mean, these guys selling arms are making money because they're selling arms to both sides. And I thought that was a gutsy move for Star Wars.
I liked all of that. It was a very gutsy move for Star Wars.
Very real word.
I liked all. Well, I wondered, do you think that was an indictment of like Dick Cheney and Blackwater?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think it was all kinds of,
Well, and it was just that the universe is no longer, I like that Star Wars is no longer black and white. Star Wars now has a lot more gray. And I think both Kylo Ren and Rey have some gray in them as well. You know, because when Rey's on the island And Luke says, you went straight to the dark side. You didn't even try to stop. And that's where she found her answers.
Yeah.
And, you've got Kylo that seems to be acting at a few times like he's acting out of goodness, whether he sees his mom on the spaceship or when he's trying to help Rey a little bit. It seems like he's coming from a place sometimes it's not all bad. And I love that now the Force is suddenly, well, maybe there's a lot of gray here and it's how people are going to use it.
Yeah, like Luke's saying, like, you really think that the Jedi are the one with, like, the actual key to the Force?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
They're the ones who get it, and they're using it the right way. Like, it's baloney.
Well, I feel like, do we believe that the Jedi are a bunch of sanctimonious, jerks?
After the prequels, yes.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for the prequels, no. But because of the prequels, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, their whole. I mean, we're all thinking that the first Star Wars movies. You're like, wow, the Jedi are all the good guys, and they got the blue lightsabers. This is Crusade. That's what we're all weaned on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. Without their self-righteous nonsense, and Luke calls their sort of their arrogance, right?
Yeah.
That they can fix everything themselves and control the Force. It's like now they have all these problems here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do we buy that?
Yeah.
Yoda buys it.
Very different from those Jedis from 1977, pal.
Well,
it is, yeah.
But we also only got a one-sided view of the Jedis in 1977. Like all we
and
heard
it was like 20/20 vision too. It was like hindsight.
Yeah.
What's that phrase? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: so is Ben Kenobi wrong?
In what?
Just is he part of a group of arrogant so-and-sos?
Yes.
No, Ben Kenobi.
Yes.
From 1977.
Well,
not like this Phantom Menace Ben Kenobi.
But it's hard. See, the problem for me now is I can't watch 1977 Ben Kenobi without thinking about either that or about Star Wars Minutes theory that he killed Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. But I mean, he does. I mean, he lies throughout those movies. He's often a little bit dissembling, and I think that kind of leads us to question exactly, if everything he's saying is accurate.
Hmm. Yeah, he's got rose-colored glasses a little bit, maybe. And he's trying to protect Luke in Star Wars a little bit.
I mean, we come away with this movie going, the Jedi aren't all that. As a matter of fact, they caused a lot of problems.
But I mean, Ben Kenobi was trying to use Luke for his own aim, like for his own ends. He wasn't just a nice guy trying to, help Luke grow as a human being or whatever he is.
Yeah.
Am I a bad person if I feel that the Porgs had more dimension than Finn and Rose?
Yes.
Yeah, you're weird.
But I like the
That's
Porgs too.
It's a stretch. They had a little bit more character development than Finn and Rose did.
I don't hate the Porgs, but
I don't
love
hate
the
the
Porgs.
Porgs. I'm just upset they had a little bit more. At least they showed some emotion with crying. I mean, Finn and Rose
cry or something?
Rose cried like
is
crazy.
Yeah, but it's like she's reading things off of like a calendar of like meaningful quotes or something. Every other line is just something like if you keep,
I don't like Mondays.
Yeah. If you keep your chin up when it's when it's raining, it's just like I don't know.
That was a little rough,
you know what?
yeah.
Look, I wanted this the first time I saw it. I wanted more from the movie. Yes, I was disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more. I wanted a better movie. And people go, "You just want Star Wars. It's not the same thing. It can't be C-3PO all day long for you." And I go, "No, I wanted a great movie."
Yeah.
I didn't get a great movie. I'm not mad because I didn't see Alec Guinness for an hour. That's not the reason I was disappointed or upset with the movie. The treatment, first of all, Tommy, I agree with you. The plot is kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is we can now track ships in hyperspace. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to disagree with you though. I don't.
And then the characters, I can't really get behind the characters outside of Rey. I'm not really interested in getting to know Poe better, and Finn is fine, and it's just like I can't get behind these people.
Yeah. There were like one too many plots going on in this movie.
Yeah.
I was
They
okay with
worked in
that.
The Empire Strikes Back because
Yeah.
you cared a lot about them,
Yeah.
and it was only like 2 stories going on.
I see. I loved Rose. I thought Rose was fantastic. I thought she was a little
I don't
bit
hate
too
her. She's
preachy.
okay.
She's
And I thought-
she's a little preachy.
Yeah,
That's- she was
I wasn't
I don't
into that
hate
necessarily,
her.
but I actually really liked her, and I liked that Finn is still trying to find his way. Like we've only known him for one movie, and during that movie he wasn't quite sure who he was even by the end, and I think I like that still carries through. And then by the end of this, he's willing to sacrifice himself, and I think that he took a huge jump. Like I think there was a giant development in his character arc.
Well, wait a minute. But I have no problem with that. But draw then execute it better. If you told me if Finn's conflicted, he doesn't know what his place is in all of this. He's just.
Well, I don't
he's a
think anybody
weak guy.
does. I think that's the magic of the movie. Nobody knows their place.
Well, yeah, but it's got to work.
See, I thought it
I mean,
worked. I
that's
thought it
all I'm
released more
saying.
than
It's
you.
a little
Yeah.
it's a little skim milk.
Moof milk, maybe.
Movement. I don't have a problem if you told me, like, across the conference table, hey, this is what this character is going to be like, and he's still conflicted, and
Yeah.
he might, but then
You just don't see it in the movie.
I just don't see it in the movie, and it's done like it's kind of mamby-pamby. And by the way, one of the worst things with this story in the movie is Rose saving Finn. If Finn had died going into the Imperial canon, that would have been fine, and that would have been closure on the character's arc. And that's what he wanted to do, and that's a complete departure from, him at the beginning, sort of absconding, with his tail between his legs in the escape pod.
But I
Then
actually
you
like
say-
that they tell it. Go ahead.
I believed that he was going to kill himself, and I thought if they do this, this is kind of cool, all things considered, and it's going to, he's going to save it. And then Rose comes along. I'm like, isn't this the mechanic again? This is the mechanic again.
But I liked it.
What's going on?
Ryan Johnson has repeatedly set up expectations that people have set, and then he knocks it down and he says, I'm actually taking this a different direction. And I don't think they all work, but that was one where I was definitely like, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was about to die there, because he was telegraphing he's about to die
really?
here. He's going to die here. He's going to sacrifice himself. And then when she knocked him out of the way, I was like, whoa. Like, at least to me, that really caught me off guard.
But I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's my point. I agree with you. Ryan Johnson did pull out the rug from under you, which was cool on a lot of stuff. I agree. It's just that I didn't buy that, and I didn't buy that that's what was going on between the two of them.
Yeah, that seemed kind of just tacked. Oh, a male and a female in a movie. We should have some.
And all of a sudden,
Well, I
she
don't think
comes
there was
in,
necessarily
she
something between
smashes
them.
into him at the last second, and it's
Yeah, I don't know
like,
how she did that. That, like, physically, I don't know how she was behind him and then, like, somehow sped up, not only to catch up with him, but then to, like, cut over and knock him out of the way.
There was a lot of that in this movie where I just didn't know where people were in the scene.
Yeah.
I didn't know where they were, like in the movie or in the scene or in relation to each other. Yeah.
On the other hand,
Holdo, here's the thing. What?
I was going to say, on the other hand,
go ahead.
Holdo doing that hyperspace move through the Snoke ship, I thought was absolutely unbelievable. That was
very cool.
incredible.
I loved that,
And then it
that
just went silent.
It was very
beautiful.
on Star Wars like, but it was beautiful and it worked.
Yeah.
And that was an example of. It's not like I hate the movie. I thought that was one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah. I was really excited for Laura Dern in this movie, and then she just kind of had this sort of like, sort of TV plot character.
I kind of liked her. I liked her a lot more the second time I saw it. Like, the first time, I wasn't quite sure I liked where they were going with her, but after the second time, I really liked her, and I really liked her relationship with Leia. Like, I thought that was something you don't see a lot in movies, and I thought that was really fantastic.
Did you think they were killing Leia at the very beginning, where she got sucked
Yeah,
out?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because of Carrie Fisher?
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily like the whole kind of, she looked like Mary Poppins flying back in.
I read that. I read the words Mary Poppins. I was like, really?
But I
Oh, okay.
love that she used the Force, and that she, like, we finally get to see her doing something.
Yeah,
like, with
I
the
didn't hate
Force.
that.
Yeah, I actually
Well,
liked that, what she did. I just didn't necessarily like the
I
execution.
wondered about that. Like, is her because she can use the Force to breathe like one hydrogen particle within like a, like per square mile or whatever.
There's a weird thing in movies. Like in the last 5 years, I think somebody told somebody in Hollywood that you can survive in space for like maybe 5 minutes or something, because it's happening a lot in movies.
But don't go down any kind of scientific path with these movies, or you're in for a lot of despair.
Right. No, of course. I'm not going to pull that.
Dropping bombs in space? What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't even think about that.
Well, like every time a ship
Dropping
gets
bombs
bombed, like a ship blows up, it starts to fall.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
This is gonna hurt when we land on something in a few million years.
Well, I thought that's what was weird. I'm like, so that's Leia using the Force? Is like she's able to breathe in outer space? I was not a.
Well, she dragged herself back.
Yeah, I know, but she's outside the door, and they open up the door. I was not a fan of that treatment.
I don't really know why that happened.
Yeah, it's just why did it happen?
If they weren't killing her there, then that's a little. The whole scene's a little silly.
Although it does, they do have to have. You do see Kylo decide not to kill her, and then the other guys actually do. Like, he kind of has
but there could just be like a big explosion, and she gets a concussion, and she's out that way or something.
But then
it was a little extra.
I just thought it was nice that they gave her a chance to have some kind of Force power.
Well, sure. I don't. Again,
but
across the conference room table.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's great. Let's see Princess Leia use the Force. She is a Skywalker after all. So what do you got in mind? And then it's like, well, she's going to extend her hand out and then fly back to the spaceship. I go, nah.
They say that she was supposed to have a huge part in 9. So, like, I wonder if, maybe her Force powers were going to get even stronger or something
I'm curious
in the
about
next
that
one.
too.
But then if that's the only reason that they had it there, then they probably should have cut it out because it didn't make a lot of sense in this movie.
It didn't make a lot of sense. They either could have killed her there, but they don't have, if they don't, they don't. That's fine. But then don't show, look, I loved the fact that, Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker are in this movie, but Princess Leia in this was a little bit of a anti-vibe. Like when she's on the screen, as much as I love watching her on the screen, I'm thrilled she's in it. They unfortunately did not give her hardly anything to do. Now I dig that she's in a coma for a bunch of it, but they just didn't make her instrumental to anything at all.
Yeah. And I kind of felt like that too, but I was wondering if that was because, like Tom said, she was going to be such a big part of 9, and they were giving each character. Like his or her
what
moment.
if she hadn't gotten knocked out and they didn't have Laura Dern in the movie and Leia piloted the ship into the Star Destroyer?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's how
I was wondering if they were I was wondering if she was going to make it through the movie alive. I was really curious how they were going to do that.
See, I would have been cool with that.
Yeah.
If 9 would be weird now.
Oh yeah. Well, everyone's gone except for Chewie, C-3PO, and R2, unless they bring back Lando.
Can I say something? I do not care about 9. I don't care about seeing Episode 9.
Huh.
I really don't care because
why?
For one thing, I don't like that dude J.J. Abrams. I don't think he's a good movie maker. I think he skated by on the skin of his teeth with Force Awakens. I think they did such a good job of undoing what I thought was a lot of the malarkey from that movie in this movie. And so I would, if somebody else was doing it, I'd be a little more excited. Although I was really excited for Rian Johnson, and I have a lot of problems with this movie. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just exhausted. Star Wars. It's not Jerry. Ben Kenobi was not a bad guy. He was not lying. He was a kindly old man in the desert. It's 1977. Let's just hug each other.
Tom is,
and everything's fine.
So the button on Tom's shirt is coming undone, and he's having to undo his belt a little bit because he's just so gorged with Kung Pao chicken right now.
Oh, it was delicious.
I love that.
Served directly into my pockets.
Oh my God, Jerry Ben Kenobi was not a bad guy in 1977.
I mean, it's very simple to say, but it is like whether they make a good movie or not in the next 10 years, it's not our Star Wars anymore.
But I think it's
just not. It's not the Star Wars that I grew up on and loved.
I agree, but I think we needed that. I think
so. This calls to mind the a famous quote from the movie that Kylo Ren says: "Let the past die. Kill it if you have to." Yeah, that's the only way.
That's
to
the whole
become
raison
what
d'etre. The whole movie.
Yeah, you were meant to be. So of course, are they talking about us and our childhood too? Like well, look, it's not your father's Oldsmobile Star Wars.
Yeah,
right.
Well, by the way, I don't have a problem with that. Just give me a great movie.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
That's what's
Just
really
give
frustrating.
Me a great movie.
I love all the ideas and the sensibilities in the movie. I just wish it was a good movie.
Well, see, I ended up.
Just,
God, you guys always put me in this position.
I know. I love doing this to you.
Well, maybe
Pete.
Pete. Maybe if I had seen it again, maybe I'd be in your position too. I
love it a lot more the more you guys dislike it. Like the more you guys say it wasn't a good movie, the more I'm like, it was a damn good movie.
This feels familiar.
Yeah, this does. I feel like
we should do a podcast.
I feel like this is shades of the future coming up.
Well, look. I saw the movie a second time, and I went in and I said, okay, well, the only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to be eating Chinese food, and that's fine. And Pete, I agree with you. It was more enjoyable the second time. And Tommy, if you're confused, which I was too the first screening, it does make more sense, and you kind of go, oh yeah, and you can sit back and relax and kind of enjoy what's happening and what's in front of you, and it is better a second time. But I don't want to just sweep away the initial disappointment, which I guess I did have high hopes. I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah. What's weird is from I haven't really read any reviews, but I've seen headlines and stuff. And 2 weeks ago, there was early responses to Last Jedi are overwhelmingly positive. And it seems like every single review, like film critic, outside of the Star Wars, echo chamber, loves the movie. And then maybe, I don't know, half the fans, 3/4 of the fans are like, what the hell's going on? This is baloney and stuff. And they're all freaking out. And that's the sense I'm getting from what I'm, just
it's
very vaguely picking
Although
up from
for
places.
me, I think one thing that made this movie harder to love was Rogue One. Because I left Rogue One and my heart was just singing. It hit for me on every level, and it nailed the nostalgia thing too. So for me, that was the perfect bridge between my childhood and modern Star Wars. And this didn't quite have that, but I still really enjoyed it.
Well,
after Rogue One, I don't think anything could have hit like that.
That might be the closest we get to something that we can actually really relate to.
I saw.
Although even Rogue One, there's something about movies these days that I don't want to be an old man, but there's a lot of movies that just I walk out and I'm like, okay, I know that wasn't a movie, but I enjoyed this, and this.
Right.
And there wasn't a plot, and there wasn't I didn't care about I love Rogue One, but I do have a problem, like a lot of people say, I agree with them, that some of the characters, like Jyn, I don't really know her. I don't know who she is. I don't know what her deal is. I don't really relate to her and stuff. But I kind of brush that aside. I'm like, no, it's cool, it's good, space battles and stuff, and it feels like Star Wars. But there's a lot of movies that just don't feel like movies, and this didn't feel like a movie. And that's I don't want to just let that be okay. I want to, especially Rian Johnson. He's made nothing but good movies, and
I wasn't actually a fan of
and
Looper.
It's frustrating. Some people weren't, I know, but I like that a lot. I thought that was awesome. Even that wasn't exactly what I expected. That was a little bit of Kung Pao chicken in a Mexican restaurant, but it was. I'm like, oh, I didn't know they served Kung Pao chicken here. All right, this is great.
I saw The Force Awakens 4 times in the movie theater, and I had a blast, and I loved it, and it wasn't perfect, but that was one where I walked away and I said, hey, this is great, and I'm fine with this. This is wonderful. This was dizzying.
Yeah.
Because, Pete, I agree with you that some of the ideas and what they did, like I said, with the Jedis and how the turns and all that were they really took risks, and they're great ideas. I just didn't like the execution, or that it landed on you of your characters that are going to carry you to those new thoughts and those new places. And the characters were just lightweights. They're just lightweights. I feel like saying,
I think only
like Tommy, you said, doesn't it? You keep coming out of these movies, and you're an old ass man, and I'm kind of I agree with you. It's all this stuff it's kind of light. It's it's just diet. It's light.
A bunch of stuff that
It's a bunch of stuff that, and I'm kind of does anybody who watch movies ever see Rocky? I mean, is Rocky popular or something? Because
a little thing called Casablanca.
Yeah, or just I don't know. I'm
anything.
not a filmophile or whatever it is, but you're like Jaws or Rocky or There's a million of great movies out there, but they're just they're simple, great movies.
See, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, but I think if you look at maybe people aren't going to say Return of the Jedi is a great movie, but I think that has a plot structure that also is not a traditional wow, that's a tight, great plot. But I thought it was it was a movie we loved, maybe because we saw it as kids, but
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more depth to this movie, at least in my opinion, than you're giving it credit for.
Oh, I do too. No, I think what's frustrating, I think if you take like maybe 20 individual scenes or moments out of this movie, it's brilliant and awesome. But just the entire thing as a whole, as a movie with like what they call like a plot and like it's just kind of, it's like it's at the same time like kind of Star Wars by the numbers kind of rote. Like, we got to destroy the thing in the thing to make the thing go.
Right.
But then it's also just like a weird kind of jumbly mess.
It
like,
is.
Kind of weird. Like it feels like they had to come up with stuff for these. Like, they have a lot of characters, which is weird. Star Wars, you had like 3 or 4 characters who were like, who you knew and cared about, who could actually do something. Like, and one of them was in jail the entire time. She's on the Death Star and she's trapped. But like this, you got like Finn, you got Rose, you got Poe, you got Rey, and they're all in different places doing different things. And only Rey is really the only one who she's doing something at the end of the last movie that has to be completed now and that you want to see. Oh my God, she's talking to Luke Skywalker. Oh my God. So she's the only one with like an active story that's happening, and they kind of had to come up with other stuff for these other people to do, and it all felt like busy work. Like here's stuff for these people to do, literally. Oh, you'll go to a crazy space casino. You'll argue with the purple-haired lady.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's like I'm sitting there. It's like 8:30 to 8:50. Bell work.
Yeah. Can I say though
literally
the absolute
copying your penmanship?
Well, and the absolute worst busy work in this movie for me was Maz. Like, I thought that scene was absolutely wretched.
Yeah.
Like, I really like this
Maz?
movie, but like, why is she fighting a battle while she's talking on the phone?
Well, that was weird.
It made no sense. It was like a video game.
That was to show that she's a badass.
But we knew
like
that.
She has the answer.
She's not in the
and
movie.
by the
Why
way,
do we have to know she's a badass?
which is really creepy for a quick minute. She literally says, "Yes, he can do everything."
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, what's up?
Yeah.
And like,
I don't
Finn,
need that.
Yeah. You do what you want there, Maz, on your own little island. That's fine. Your little beautiful planet. But is that what we're discussing here? Like, that's what we're discussing here. I just want to be clear.
Right.
And like, Finn looks at whoever,
Yeah.
Rose, I guess, and they're like, oh, is she speaking sexually?
Hubba.
Yeah, but it's just like, whoa.
Oh, before we end this,
you know.
I had a question for you, Jerry. Because I saw it twice and I didn't catch this, but I saw someone online mention, we were talking about Leia using Force powers. At the beginning, when the woman is trying to grab the garage door opener thing, the button to drop the bombs, does Leia use the Force to help her, or does that just fall because she kicks the ladder?
Now, you asked me this before I saw it for a second time, so I paid attention.
Yeah, I asked you to pay attention to see what happened.
It's inconclusive. It could be.
It could have been Leia using the Force.
Yeah, it would be a bit.
It could be Space Yahweh.
I think what happened is, I'll tell you, Leia flew through space over to that other ship and
Gave it a little kick.
Yeah, she pounded on the door of the ship, and then that's what caused the garage door opener to fall. Because they show a picture of Leia right before the woman gathers all the strength to kick it. They show a picture of Leia, and she's kind of like, concentrating really hard, and you're like, oh,
right.
It's just like, wow, we're in major trouble, or let me manipulate the garage door opener. I don't know.
Wouldn't you have to know that the garage door opener was dangling off a thing, and that's why the bombs?
Well, wouldn't you have to breathe
I don't think Leia would know
oxygen
all
in
that
space?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Dropping bombs.
Yeah,
in space.
No. I don't. I thought it was inconclusive.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
What did you guys think about the end segment with Luke doing the meditative battling?
Here's what I loved about that, and here's what I hated about it. I love that. I love that scene. Oh, I loved his staring off into the sun and fading away and stuff. That was a beautiful ending for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when he shows up on Hoth
Crate.
2, Red Hoth, yeah, he's clearly like something's clearly up. He's like young old Luke.
He's younger. Yeah,
with like a brown beard and the short hair, and you're like, okay, something's up. Like, I know he didn't just fly there. Like, it was very distracting. You knew something was up for that entire sequence, so you're like, I'm not enjoying this. He's not really talking to Leia. He didn't just hand her something. He's not standing there being shot by
that from the beginning.
AT-ATs. Oh, yeah. No, I didn't know exactly. we've seen people talking to each other through the Force,
Right.
like they're almost in the same
Right.
room throughout the movie. So I'm like, okay, he's probably doing that or something like that. But then I was also thinking like, there were no nods to that or anything. So I was like, is he just younger now? Like, did he get healthier or something? Because he made a decision to come help or something? But that whole sequence, I enjoyed it. I liked the fight between him and Kylo Ren. I like what was happening in it. I like him like apologizing to him and like, there's that closure there. But it was very distracting. And so then when it finally, I'm like, okay, I get it. He's sitting.
There were a lot of hints I didn't catch until the second time, like the fact that his feet didn't make the red marks when he slid across the thing, or their lightsabers never touched.
Oh wow! I didn't know.
I was also
funny.
the second time I watched it, I noticed when he puts his hand on Leia's face, there's like this sudden look in her eyes that she realizes he's not really there.
Oh.
And I thought that was kind of cool.
That is cool. What do we think of Yoda?
Oh, I loved Yoda.
I love
Because
Yoda,
he
too.
was crazy old man Yoda, and
Yeah.
he was a puppet, and he felt like Yoda to me, not
And,
like
yeah,
the
maybe it's
prequel.
simplistic of me to say like, oh, Yoda's there, so this feels like Star Wars. But Yoda was there, and it felt
Yeah.
like Star Wars. And he was a puppet, and he was
Yeah.
Frank Oz, and he was kind of awesome, and he was kind of kind of daffy,
Yeah.
early Empire Strikes Back Yoda. And I've heard people, oh, he says page turner. You're not allowed to say page turner.
No, that's
Who
okay.
cares?
And he's playing jokes on Luke, like he calls the lightning strike down on the tree, knowing that Rey's already got the books out of the thing anyway. Like I love
Right.
that he's still like mischievous. Like he's not at all the
Yeah.
Yoda from the prequels, who I did not like.
Right.
But he did remind me a lot of Yoda from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So does
totally.
it matter that Rey has the Jedi texts? Does she need to
She's
have
not
them?
going to read them.
Well, if she said the weird thing about here, I mean, talk about midichlorians a little bit here. He's like, oh no, she doesn't need. She already has what's.
She
in
has
all those
everything she
books.
needs. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, wait a minute. She's like a Jedi for like what, like a week and a half? Like, I mean,
Well-
what are we doing? Like, how talented is she?
Well, I think he meant.
Well, I mean,
she's got
Yoda's
the
already
books.
saying that the books
yeah,
are-
I think he was saying she's got the books. She's got everything. That's
Well, he
in
could be
the-
saying
yeah.
that, but also he's saying like he's in the middle of saying the books are stupid. I never read them. They're not
Yeah.
like good.
Yeah.
They're not they're not important. Like she's got what she needs. She's strong with the Force.
Yeah.
Her heart's in the right place. She'll
And
figure it
Yoda
out.
trained Luke for like 3 days too. Like
yeah,
that was
but
also-
here's what's crazy, and
He was
here's
like
what's
20 years
Yeah.
too old to start. but he
Here's
did it
what's
anyway.
crazy and dangerous about that. We know how that winds up. That was the whole thing. He
Yeah.
leaves Dagobah prematurely.
Yeah.
And it was only 3 days. You know what I mean? But I always got the impression that, like, Luke kind of put a lot more time in. I know it was only a couple days, but they felt like at least, like, probably 16-hour days. Like he was
Yeah.
doing doubles,
Yeah.
double,
Yeah.
double
Like a few
shifts
weeks,
on
actually.
the, With Rey, it's like, okay, here's a lesson, and it's like 2 minutes later.
But see, I like that she had the heart that Luke didn't have. It reminded me of Siddhartha, where she's lying asleep in the rain on the floor and on the ground in front of his hut because she so desperately wants to learn.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what's amazing? You bring up Siddhartha. Spoilers if you haven't read Siddhartha, but that entire scene where he describes the Force is literally the end
Yeah.
of Siddhartha.
Yeah.
I mean, almost like it's all of it.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, it's the good, the bad, life, death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the water too.
the way
which
she
I thought
falls
was-
through the water. Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. I loved that.
I did too.
actually. I love that. That's how I would envision the Force.
Yeah.
Those scenes are also actually really, they perfectly encapsulate what I do like about the attitude of the movie, because it feels like Force Awakens did a lot of Star Warsy kind of stuff, like a little too much, like, oh, here's that remote ball and stuff, and here's the chessboard and everything. But this one felt like it was deep old friends with
Yeah.
Star Wars and was kind of punching it in the shoulder every once in
Yeah.
a while. Because in that same conversation where he gives this kind of beautiful, perfect description of what the Force is, that starts off with her being like, yeah, but what is it?
Yeah.
Like, you control people's minds and you float rocks and stuff. Like, so it's kind of like goofing on Star Wars, but also having a deep love and understanding of it and respect for
And
it.
there wasn't a lot of fan service in this either, which I actually
No,
kind of like.
yeah.
Although I
mean, you could...
I had read that
Go ahead.
everyone was complaining that nobody said I've got a bad feeling about this, but I think
I'll grow up.
that Ryan Johnson came out afterwards and BB-8 says it at the beginning. when he's talking, when they're going in to attack the dreadnought, I think he says it to Poe.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, and because Poe says something like, "Oh, come on, positive beeps or something."
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I loved, speaking of fan service, I don't think this is fan service. This was like maybe the best part of the movie is R2 showing Luke.
Yeah.
Luke's like, nothing you say is going to make me change my mind. He shows him the hologram from Star Wars. You're like, oh, where's Jerry Porter? I'm going to have Jerry Porter in the 1970s.
But see, I love that.
That's
and I
fantastic.
loved Luke being in the Falcon, but I did not love that there seemed to be nothing between Chewie and Luke. Like Chewie came in and yelled at him, and Luke's like, "Oh, where's Han?" You know, like
it was very. I wish that scene hadn't been interrupted. That's where I'm like, there's too many movies going on in this movie. I want to see. I want to just stay with Luke for a little bit. He just saw Chewie. He just found out something's wrong with Han. Like I would love to see more.
And
of
that's like Chewie just getting relegated to nothingness, and I hate that.
Yeah, that I didn't.
Although Leia hugged him this time, fans don't write any more letters. She hugged him.
Well, all the
still
things
didn't get
like
a medal.
That, like Luke winks at C-3PO.
That was weird. Like, I don't want him to like sit down and have tea with him or something, but like I don't know what they go way back.
Yeah,
they go way back. Well, and also when Luke sees R2, he's kind of like, "Hey, old friend," and you're like, "All right, man, show a little more emotion." Come on. He's kind of like, and then he says, "You watch your language, Sacred Island, or whatever, Sacred Planet or something," and you're like. Come on! I mean, have a little bit. He's.
Although I love that about Poe Dameron, that he legitimately loves BB-8 and can't wait to see him. I love that about him.
I love that too. So I would kind of. I love that too. Now, what's crazy is BB-8 in this is like he's actually Chewbacca.
Oh, he's awesome in this. Yeah.
But I mean, he's in the Scout Walker.
Yeah, he's
the mini
exactly.
Scout Walker.
Yeah.
Were we expecting that?
No, not at all.
No. I thought maybe it was going to be Benicio del Toro or something.
Yeah.
Like, changed my mind.
Yeah, I kept thinking he was going to change his mind, and I thought it was gutsy that he didn't.
Hey, what you know those weird creatures on, what's it, Canto Bight or whatever?
Yeah, the Fathiers, the horse rabbit things.
Yeah. Why do they growl identically to Chewbacca?
I didn't notice that.
No, it's identical.
Oh, it's funny.
It's not funny.
I don't notice it
It's
either.
not funny.
I'm sorry. It's sad. I'm going to write a letter.
It's like they press the Wookiee button.
Yeah. Maybe the guy just leaned his elbow on the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's really strange. That whole scene is like
sound.
this Bulls of Pamplona, and you're like, yeah, they're putting their fists through this beautiful city.
Yeah. Of people I don't know anything about, and it's not a.
It's kind of like that's all smashing the 1%ers, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's pretty hollow. It's pretty like quick and just I don't know. It wasn't that interesting to me.
Yeah.
No Ben Burt
what's your,
on this one either.
What's that?
No Ben Burt on Last Jedi. I think
did he work on Force Awakens?
Yeah, he was the sound designer. Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
What was your favorite scene in the entire movie?
This makes me sound like a jerk, but I love everything that kind of undid The Force Awakens, or that felt like a slight middle finger to Force Awakens. I love Luke tossing the lightsaber. I like Snoke telling Kylo Ren to get that ridiculous thing off his head. I love killing Snoke like in the middle of the movie. I thought that was really cool. And I like that. I love that whole scene because Snoke's got this beautiful red glowing evil chamber, but then by the end of the fight, you're like, oh, those are drapes. He's like in this big, weird, stupid, empty room with windows, and he put up all these cool red drapes to look cool. I thought that was kind of awesome.
I loved, like you mentioned, I loved Luke Skywalker's end. I loved the meditation thing. I loved the twin sons, and he ends his story just like he begins it, and he's kind of that kid again. And I loved Rey in the cave. Like I love Rey's conflict, and I think she is for me definitely the star of these new movies.
Yeah, I love the Luke twin son thing. I was like, you can't. No, that it can't be sappy enough or anything. I'm buying it 100%. I love it. Like all the hairs on the back of my neck. And I was just like, oh yeah. I'm looking at the two twin sons. I'd say my favorite part of the movie, and I even seeing it a second time, I was sure about it, is when they play Here They Come. Yeah. And the Millennium Falcon's going to, and it's dun 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 bum 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 got him. That was, and he's like the Millennium Falcon's flying through the planet. And the TIE fighters. I was just like, this is Star Wars, and Chewbacca's flying.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And he's crushing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I could have used a little more Chewie in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely.
He was in it a bit. I don't know.
He
was the
Chewie
driver.
amount.
Like he was, yeah.
Yeah.
They gave him, like, the only time you really see him is the Porgs moment.
Yeah.
And he's like...
Was there any Peter Mayhew in that at all this time? I kind of don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know.
think Peter Mayhew was in them at all. Somebody will write
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Dudes, read the articles.
I don't feel like this movie had Chewbacca, R2, or C-3PO.
It definitely didn't have R2.
No, I
except for that
felt
one
R2
scene.
was-
Yeah,
I
like,
would
if
have
you
liked
told
a
me
lot
they were
more
in it,
R2, yeah.
I'd be like, where? Where were they in it?
Although I kind of liked understated C-3PO. Well, for him.
Me too. I thought there was
Yeah,
a good
I
amount
thought
of
that was
C-3PO. Like, they didn't give him dumb stuff to do, but they didn't give him, like, other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he was.
You know what? I don't
C-3PO.
like Poe Dameron telling him to shut up. It's like, you're not Han
Yeah, who are
Solo.
you, kid?
Yeah, who
Yeah.
are you, Poe?
Yeah.
You just tell C-3PO to shut up.
Yeah. I feel like there's more to say, but I don't
Well,
know.
is this...
That's a long episode.
So, again, just let the past die, kill it if you have to. That's the only way you can become what
Yeah.
you're meant to be. I had it's a funny line. I feel like you're sort of forcing it. It's like it's the only way you can become what you're meant to be, and you're like, well, how would you know what you're meant to be
right.
unless you had some connection with your past? I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, if you're talking about Star Wars, which he is, then it makes sense. Like, you can't just be. It's weird. He's saying that, but then there's stupid AT-ATs in this movie. Like, he's not giving up yet. He's still sort of
I
hanging
think
on.
he's being completely manipulative, too. I don't think he really necessarily means that for himself. I think he is trying to manipulate her into a choice. Just like I'm not completely convinced that her parents were nobodies who sold her, for drinking money.
Better be.
for
I want
gambling.
that to be
They
the
better be,
period
yeah.
at the end of
No,
that
I do
entire
too.
conversation.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear another
I do
word
too,
about
but
that.
I think the thing about this movie that's interesting is Rian Johnson said the storyline was completely open-ended, and J.J. Abrams gave him complete freedom, and Kathleen Kennedy said, go where you want with the story. But that also means that J.J. Abrams is going to pick the story back up, and who knows where it's going to take it. But I agree. I hope that she stays kid of nobody. But I think it's interesting that we don't know if Kylo is lying, if Kylo is trying to manipulate her into doing what he wants.
Yeah, but he didn't even say what he's like.
Yeah.
Like what the deal is with your parents, and she totally did. Know.
Yeah. That's
Well,
true.
he knows that's her
she
fear.
did.
Yeah, but it's also like what she saw in the remember her failure at the cave. Like what she saw was like, oh, show me my parents, and then all that was in the entire universe was her.
But that's her fear. Like if she was super young, I don't know if she knows. I mean, I agree. I hope that that's the case, but I don't know.
Well, see, wasn't Anakin like a immaculate conception baby?
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
I know.
I hate Star Wars so much.
Exactly. Somebody reminded me of that like yesterday, and I said, "Shut up, Jimmy, or whatever your name is. Just shut up."
Kung Pao chicken.
Yeah. So maybe Rey is like, well, who knows? Maybe she, like, when she sees that who are her parents, and no one shows up, you're like, maybe she banged a god or somebody. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Her parents were, Zeus, and who knows? Maybe nobody. Maybe she's an immaculate conception.
No, God.
No, I agree.
I liked
God,
that.
they can't be that
I
stupid.
didn't like. Again, I don't like the fact that they use the little kids, but I do like the fact that the little kid at the end is just a kid. Like he's not anybody's kid, or he's not related to anybody. He's just a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it weird that this middle chapter didn't end on a cliffhanger at all?
Well, kind of did. I mean,
there's stuff like unresolved, but it's not
the
like,
fact that the rebellion is
don't
now
know.
down to like 8 people. Like
Yeah.
there definitely are heroes. Are
maybe the
against
reason
the
I
wall.
don't care about. Yeah. But I mean, I'm thinking the reason I don't care about 9 maybe is like, well, okay, like maybe it is just not, like this is a sequel to a movie that wasn't my Star Wars, and like this next one is going to not be my Star Wars, even though I do like a lot of the characters a lot, and of course I'm going to see it, and I'll probably like it. I don't know. But there's something kind of like, all right, more stuff is happening. Okay. Oh, and there's going to be a whole other trilogy on the side. Okay, I'll see that too. And there's going to be even more stuff that happened. And I don't know, there's a little like, you know what? I always admired British TV series that last like 1 year.
Yeah, I like that too.
Like they tell the story and that's
like The
it.
Office did
And they
2
know
short
it's done.
seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I kind of, there's a lot of Star Wars. There's a lot of Star Wars. You don't need half the Star Wars.
Oh my
here.
God!
Yeah.
Shut up, Tom Taylor. I'm
I
so
love it.
happy
I
we
love
get
it.
Star Wars every year for the rest of our lives. I think that's the most wonderful thing in the world.
Honestly, like I'm asking, honestly, like if I don't know, it's
I want Star Wars every year for the rest of my life. I
really
do.
you're part of the problem.
I'm happily part of the problem.
Right.
I love it, and I love getting ready and going to the movies and all that stuff. And I
Sure.
this one
I do too.
This one did have a lot of throwbacks with the music, and a lot of visuals look like the old school Star Wars. But I agree with you, Tommy. There's a lot of Star Wars garbage to wade through. That's not. And by the way, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. Yeah, it's not.
You did everything that was asked of you.
Yes, and I can't. There's a lot of Baby Greedo and a Jango Fett, and there's a lot of stuff in midichlorians. There's a lot of garbage to wade through. It ain't my fault.
This did have
Maybe there should only be tons of Star Wars if we make it. We know what we're doing.
This did have a reference to the prequels, which I thought was pretty gutsy. Was Luke mentioned Darth Sidious?
Yeah,
I was a little surprised about that. Yeah,
I was fine with that.
No, I kind of liked
I mean,
it. Yeah.
I mean, he could have. Maybe he might have called him Palpatine or something. But it's like, that story was there. Like if you're reading the Star Wars novelization in 1977, like that stuff's already kind of there. So it's valid. It's not just a prequel thing, Well, Last Jedi. Congratulations, everybody.
Yes, I love it. You know what's great is I got a text from you, Tommy, and you actually loved you loved it the first time you saw it. Are you starting to curdle?
No, I still love I think when I said I loved it, I was really responding to the parts that I love.
Yeah.
And I love and like the whole movie is chock full of things that I love. It's not just like weird little isolated bits. Like, when Attack of the Clones came out, I was like, okay, I'll see it again. If only for the, Sonic Charges things that Jango Fett uses on Ben Kenobi. That thing's incredible. I'll sit through the whole movie just to see that.
We got something that I thought you would love, Tom. We got a on Canto Bite.
Oh, yeah. We did? I didn't notice
the police car,
the
police
that's awesome.
Spaceship things did the
That's hysterical. Oh my God. But yeah, no, I mean, I do. I need to see it a couple more times. Obviously, I feel like once like the bumps of like the weirdness of the movie are smoothed over just from seeing it so many times. I can just sit back and enjoy the parts that I like, which I guess is what movies are now. I don't know. They don't have to be good. They just have to have a lot of good stuff in them.
Well, see, they don't have to be good. They just have a lot of good stuff. And now, Pete, you sent me a text saying, I've seen it twice. We're about to talk about it, and I still don't know how I feel about the movie.
Right, and you guys completely cemented it with your negativity.
Yeah,
now I love it. Great movie.
You're welcome.
2 thumbs way up.
Pete.
Yep, it's a Christmas miracle.
Way up your ass.
I said it before, but I really do not understand the glowing reviews.
Oh,
I'm happy for people to like it, and I'm happy for them, and I get that there are good things, but I don't understand. This is a great movie. I don't understand that at all.
Really?
I
get him. You know what? I don't get it either.
Maybe I'll agree when I see it again.
I don't get the glowing reviews either. I would say the same about Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is not a great movie by any means. No. Did I have fun? Yes. But that doesn't mean, that's the same kind of thing. It's like if it's 4:00 in the morning and I order Domino's, it's like, how was your pizza last night? Bad. And it's like, but I thought you said you had fun last night. I did. But how did you have fun if the pizza was bad? The pizza sucked, but it was 4:00 in the morning and I had fun. It's like, that doesn't mean, because I had fun, doesn't mean the pizza's good.
I picked up a phone and the guy brought a pizza to my house.
Yeah, and I was like,
how's that not fun?
Swinging from the chandeliers because it's 4:00 in the morning. I was having fun, but the pizza sucked. I still ordered it.
See, I think we actually had Little Star Pizza. You just don't know it yet. I think this movie is going to age well or better than.
Look, I don't.
I hope so. I'm on the movie side. I want to like it. I'm surprised I didn't like it more. Not because of the movie, but because I was expecting more from this guy. This Ryan Johnson fella. And because the early reviews were so glowing, oh my gosh, it knocks it out of the
Right.
park. Oh my gosh, Star Wars is saved. I'm like, boy, I don't see that at all. I like the movie, but I don't see that. I don't see that it's a home
No,
run.
look. Finn, Rose.
I also don't see the hate. Everybody hates it, and I don't understand that either.
Finn and Rose and Poe Dameron and Laura Dern. No, that's not knocking it out of the park.
Right.
It's not even close. Those are they're
spinning your wheels a
they're
little
very
bit.
lightweight and strangely assembled plot lines and trajectories.
It should be called Things to Do in Space While You're in a Star Wars movie. That's what those scenes are called.
Now, the dizzying part is we all agree that what they did sort of philosophically is riveting.
Yeah.
And
I'm
that's
all behind the mission statement
yes,
of the movie.
I'm all behind what happens with, all that we've discussed, sort of philosophically what they've done with the Force and Jedis and the detentions and all the stuff, where we're going to go, and there's a tiny little crew of rebels left. We all love what they did. It's just how they got there was not a good movie.
I'm going to disagree. I think it was a good movie.
All right. Well, Pete's insane.
Yeah.
Jared and Tom make a lot of sense.
And
listen.
save these thoughts for Last Crusade.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
It's called the Indiana Jones.
It's called the Temple of Doom.
Although I don't think it's going to end there.
So yeah, the next time you hear from us, most likely we'll be talking about the other last movie, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And that'll be coming to you sooner than you might think, but not as soon as you do think. I don't know what that means. But we'll be back very soon in the new year.
We'll be back soon in the new year.
We'll be back soon in the new year. How about that? There you go.
Don't say very soon or you're going to...
Oh, that's right. Very soon means something very specific. Soon means here it comes, sooner or later. But yeah, please check us out on IndianaJonesMinute.com. You can find us online, on our social medias like Facebook. Our group is Indiana Jones Minute and the Listener's Crusade. You can find us on Twitter, Indiana Jones Min. And if you love the show and you love us and you love podcasts and you love being part of the solution, you can go to patreon.com/Indiana Jones Minute. Where we do a bonus show for the people who support us over there called Anything Goes, where we discuss other films, not just Indiana Jones or Star Wars films. And we're having a ball over there, and we want you to join us there and have a ball too. What am I forgetting?
T-Public.
T-Public. Go over to T-Public and buy some of our shirts, buy a phone case, buy a knapsack. I don't think they have knapsacks. Does anyone even say knapsack?
No, they have.
They have tote bags.
They do have tote bags,
and
you're
they
right.
have cod pieces.
They have cod pieces.
Yeah.
They have merkins. No, they don't have any of those things. But yeah, go to tpublic.com and find our Indiana Jones Minute merchandise. I'm wearing one right now, and I'm happy as a clam. I got a shirt on that says Neolithic. Neo, meaning new, and lith, I-T-H-I-C. If you're only a Star Wars fan listening to this, and you don't get that joke, you should see a movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark. It will blow you away. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. We hope that you're mad at least some of us, because you wouldn't be a Star Wars fan if you weren't. Whatever that means, whichever side you're on.
I would just hope after this you would feel either dizzy or, like Tommy said, exhausted. Go hug your friend from 1977, or if you're one of those younger fellers, 1987 or 1997.
Sure.
And have a good time.
And then you can hug them and say, you know what? I am now living in the moment. I am living in the present. I'm enjoying what life has laid out before me. It's a new path, and it's not a path I expected, but I'm going to embrace it.
And then go call up some crappy-ass pizza delivery place and enjoy.
Poe?
Poe?
No!